What's going on, everybody? It's ShamefulPenguin here, back with another video. Today we're going to be getting into some Valdos arrest mapping strategy. This mapping strategy is very strong. We utilize killing Harbingers for currency shards, and we do this in Valdos arrest. You are going to need at least 2 Altas passive points in Valdos arrest, so you're going to have to fight the Maven group fight at least twice, which is pretty easy, pretty manageable to do. If you do all 5, you do make more profit. And if you do have, I did use one rolled Watchstone, the rest of the 3 were pretty useless. And I'll go over how much I invested into this. It was about 400 to 450, I would say 450 C investment in 25 maps, and we did more than make our return by a lot. And this is a really great way for like medium tier builds to do a quick farm. If you were good at clearing packs pretty well and have a build that can like, I don't know, just like explode things, so like Herald of Ice, Explodey Chest, Pro Lift, like my build Ignite Pro Lift, I'm using Burning Arrow. You will utilize clearing this really fast, and the faster you clear, the faster the more money you'll make. So yeah, let's get into it. So we're gonna get into how I ran each of these maps. These maps are pretty low investment in my opinion. They could be a lot higher, so we're gonna get into how I ran them. So what we do first is that we will scour the map, make sure it's white, and if it's white, we're gonna use 4 chisels on it and make it 20% quality. We'll alch it, make sure it's a roll that you can. If it's something like reflect that you can't run or cannot regen, you're gonna scour, alch it, or binding. Bindings also work like alchemy on maps. And you're going to do that until you can run it, until it's a good mod. And then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to grab some simple sextants and sextant each one of these 4 watchstones. Now, you can run prime sextants. I didn't, just because I started using simple and I wanted to continue and make it normal. But I don't suggest using Awaken because we're not taking advantage of anything like Nemesis or whatever. And so I don't feel like the 4C price tag per sextant is worth it, in my opinion. And then once you're all ready with that, you're going to go to your map device, throw in that and any fragments that you want. You can throw in scarabs as well. I just threw in sacrifice fragments. And then most importantly, you're going to run Harbinger in June. It doesn't have to be June. I'll explain this later on. But you make sure you run Harbinger on your map. This is really, really important because it is the main way that you're generating those Harbinger bosses and stuff. So that's pretty much how I'd run every single map. Now I did a little breakdown of how much each one cost for me. So it's about 433. I would estimate 450 C in investment, and this is because mostly because of the map price, and the Harbinger is 4C per. But we do make quite a bit back. Way more than we invested in, so I wouldn't worry about that. And you don't have to invest that 433C all at once. You can do it in increments of 5 or 10. So just make sure you get the maps, start running, and you'll kind of sustain yourself on things like chisels, sextants, alts and scour orbs. You'll definitely sustain yourself in, so you don't have to like invest it. It's just currency lost. So I do believe so it's about 433C investment, so it's like medium tier investment in 25 different maps, 25 different canyon T15 canyon maps. And yeah, so we'll get into the Altas Passives next. So the reason we're running Valdos Rest in that Harbinger map roll is that areas contain additional Harbingers, so we're already getting 1. And then we get Diplomatic Escort, so we have a 30% chance for each Harbinger that we spawn to be replaced with a Harbinger boss. And now this makes it pretty insane because you can have 3 Harbinger bosses on a map if each one rolls on that 30% chance. And this will get you a lot of currency. Stacked with the Watchstones that you have, this will just generate a lot of money for you. On top of that, I ran June. I'm going to go over 3 different options. So you can run June. And if you run June, you do make a lot of currency, but I didn't show any of the currency I made off of running safe houses. Safe houses are a really, really strong way of making currency if you know what you're doing. Next is Blight. I ran one Blight encounter just so I can just have the extra chance of having it. You can just run one for Metamorph if you prefer Metamorph, but I think Blight's really strong in this league. Now, the second option to run is full Blight, in my opinion. You do the, of course, Diplomatic Escort. This is mandatory. Excuse me. And then you're going to be running the Blight encounter, so you're going to get all 3 Blight nodes, and you're just going to run Blight things whenever they come up. And this is very strong because Blight is buffed this league. It is a pretty good way of making currency. Running blighted maps is a good way of getting currency, so you can get blighted maps out of this, and it will be a good way of making money. The second option is just running Diplomatic Escort and then running full Metamorph. Metamorph is really strong because it is just raw dump of currency once you kill the monster. So if you're pretty good at killing bosses, so if you're like, think the map is kind of easy or whatever, and you have a decent build, I do recommend running Metamorph, because Metamorph will just get you a lot of raw currency just right there. You pick it up and you go. You don't have to invest anything in like the Syndicate. You don't have to take too much time like Blight, and it's just quicker. So those are the 2 options. So it's pretty much Syndicate. You can run full Blight or full Metamorph. Those are the options with the Harbinger. All 3 of them are good. I do think that the best way of getting money is to run the Syndicate with it, but that's my opinion. Now we're going to be getting into Watchstones. So there's 3 different Watchstones, Harbinger Watchstones you can roll. We'll go over them really quick. Here, let's find it. So we'll type them out. So Harbingers and Ares have a drop rare valued currency shards. This is the most expensive. It is about 7.3 exalts per one of these. You only need one of them. I do recommend getting one of these if you are planning to run like 50 of these maps. You can always sell Watchstones right after, so it is very strong. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. So it is a really good way of making currency. So if you can just drop those like 7 exalts right here, and then sustain, and then buy your maps as well. I do recommend doing that. And then once you're done with the maps, you can just go ahead and resell it, and that's just raw currency, extra juice that you got. Now the other Harbingers are additional chance to contain a Harbinger. I believe this is the weakest mod. It does cost just as much as a Watchstone. So it's about 100 C for a Platinum Watchstone. All of these rolls are from Platinum Watchstones. So areas have a chance to contain additional Harbinger. This is okay because of the fact that that Harbinger that you add has a chance to become a Harbinger boss. So it is better than last league, but I do believe this is the weaker. And then this is the middle tier, where Harbingers and Ares have a chance to drop an additional stack of currency shards. And in my testing, this is what I actually ran with. I ran with one of these mods, and then everything else is trash. I just used one of these just because I had it and I rolled it and then I got it, so I was like, cool, I'll keep it. And this will cost you, let me go back to PoE, about 1.3 1.4 exalts to run one of these per one of these, and these will stack on top of each other, so you can run 3 of these and then the rare currency, which is about 7 exalts. So you can spend about 10 exalts on Watchstones and then sell them all back, and that's the way to juice the maps the most. But if you don't have to invest anything in the Watchstones, you will make a lot of currency off this build. You can invest into one of these Watchstones like me, and you will see similar results to your to my findings. Another thing is that you should have some good map completion, so you can sustain and get more map drops. And I'll actually go over the mapping strategy I used. It is not too high IQ. It's kind of basic, kind of like the old map strategy I used for you guys. And this is that I took out one watchdown out of every area except for Valdos, and this makes it so the highest map tier that can drop is a T14. T14 is the highest map tier that could drop, and since that's the thing, if a T15 drops, it will always be on Valdo's Rest. And since it's Valdo's Rest, you have like Canyon, Ghetto, and I guess that's it. Canyon and Ghetto are the only 2 drops that can drop, And then if you just favor Canyon, you'll pretty much just only get T15 Canyons whenever T15 drops. Now you will get T14s drop, and they can be pretty much anywhere because the T14s are from the free Watchstones. And I don't think it matters which one we get. And then as a T16, it'll be a Maze or an Acropolis. So because that's the only two T16s on your Atlas at the point. So I do recommend getting this up so this map strategy will keep going, and you will sustain about half your maps if you use this map strategy in my findings. Okay, now we're going to get into our findings really quick. So I want to explain one thing really quick, and then we'll go into excellence. Is that every time I would get a map drop, I would put it in here because that's my findings. This is the tab of all the 25 maps. But when I would, other than going on PoE Trade and trying to find someone to sell me a map for 10C, because Canyon maps are about 10C, I would give myself 10C. I would pay myself 10C and then take a map out of here. And that's what this stack of currency is. This is 9 stacks of currency, or stacks of Chaos Orbs. So this is about 9. This is 9 drops of Canyon on top of our 3 other drops, so that makes 12 drops. So we did sustain half our maps, and we did get some big drops. I should talk about it in excellence instead of here. So I'm gonna refresh really quick in case anything changed. But it says most of our drops was currency. This is a lie. Subtract 90C from this, and that's the actual chaos drops, and that's a mix of chaos shards and raw chaos drops. And yeah, so kind of ignore this. So this is about 63C of chaos dropped from our maps, so that's pretty good. We got an Exalted Orb raw drop. I believe that's about par. Prism Guardian was super lucky. Ancient Shards, pretty average. You do get quite a bit of Ancient Shards to drop, especially from those Harbinger bosses when you have multiple in your map. Exalt Shards, I actually only got 9 out of 25 maps. This is really low. Now, if I had the Harbingers drop rare currency shards, I believe I would get way more Exalted Shards and make way more profit. So, yeah, but overall, we just have a smorgasbord of just crazy amount of just different drops. We have a lot of different currencies, and a lot of maps, I think, are the biggest ways of getting currency. Is just like all the raw, just different maps that we have, all the different stuff we have. And now you can't really sell like this is probably like a T12 iceberg or T13 iceberg or something, so it only sells for 3C, and it might not sell that well because it's only T13, it's not a T15 or 16. So these might be harder to sell on average. But what you can do is you can like combine them and upgrade them to another thing or whatever, or try to sell them in bulk or whatever. So you do make quite a bit of currency off this. So some things might be harder to sell, but there are a lot of your things like oils are easy to sell, bindings, baubles, div cards. A lot of this is just raw currency drops, and will be pretty liquid to sell. So it said we made about 1,700 chaos, and I would say about 1,000 of that is pretty liquid. It's like exalted, easy to sell things, easy to sell items, splinters, stuff we're going to use as well, map drops. And about 700 of it will be not as liquid, so like those lower tier maps, or maybe some prophecies. Well, if the prophecies on here, so like essence are really liquid. Yeah, just other things like lower tier currencies that you may not sell in bulk, like silver coins. I got a decent amount of silver coins. I'm not really gonna waste my time trying to sell a bulk amount of those. So I would say about 1,000 of it is liquid in my opinion, but we do make way over our 433 investment out of 25 maps. And yeah, just a lot of currency was made off of this strategy. I did run ultimatums on every single one of my maps. Unless it was stone circles, then I was out. No one wants to run stone circles. You can definitely run them if you want to. I would just look at the first reward. If the first reward was like 4C, I would run the first reward. If it wasn't, I was dipping. So yeah, we did make a lot of currency off of this mapping strategy, and I do believe that if you have a medium tier investment, like a couple hundred C, and you want to like turn that into like 1,000 C real quick, I do recommend trying out this strategy. And if your build can definitely clear the map at a decent rate, this is the mapping strategy for you. And that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for checking it out, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.